4. Jordan isn't as dry as Egypt. الأردن ليس جافا مثل مصر. Pupils book كتاب الطالب. المفردات المطلوبة في الوحدة الرابعة. الكلمة، المعنى، اللفظ. Capital city عاصمة. Centigrade درجة مئوية. Coast ساحل. Coral مرجاني. Reef شريط من الصخور. Degrees درجات. Fascinating مذهل. Gazelle الغزال. Lizard السحلية. مليمتر Sand dune كثب رملية. Rainfall شلال. Sandstorm عاصفة رملية. 1. Listen and read. Pupils book page 20. 1. Miss Selma, this afternoon Samira and Layla are going to talk to the class. Samira, Jordan is a fascinating country. There are deserts and mountains. There are canyons and valleys. There are rivers, deserts, and forests too. 2. Layla, this is Jordan on the map. Jordan is bigger than Lebanon. It is as big as Saudi Arabia or Egypt. Miss Selma, well done, Layla. What is the weather like in Jordan? 3. Samira, it's hot here in the summer, but it isn't as hot as Saudi Arabia. Layla, in the capital city, Riyadh, it's 43 degrees centigrade in the summer. Samira, Jordan isn't as dry as Egypt. It is one of the driest countries on earth. It has 50 millimeters of rain every year. 3. Miss Salma, what's your favorite place in Jordan? Layla, my favorite place in Aqaba is Aqaba. It's on the coast. There's a beautiful coral reef in the sea. Samira, my favorite place in the desert is Samira, my favorite place in the desert. There are sand and dunes. I like the gazelles and lizards. Miss Selma, good, well done. What is the girls talk about? It's about Jordan and other countries. True or false? There aren't any trees in Jordan. False. There are forests in Jordan. Jordan isn't as big as Egypt. True. Jordan isn't as hot as Saudi Arabia in the summer. True. Egypt is the wettest country on earth. False. Egypt is one of the driest countries on earth. Samira's favorite place is Aqaba. False. Layla's favorite place is Aqaba. Samira's favorite place is the desert. القواعد comparing المقارنة أسلوب يستخدم للمقارنة بين شخصين أو شيئين بصفة واحدة. نستخدم للمقارنة طريقتين. الطريقة الأولى comparison using isn't as adjective as أي نضع الفاعل ثم isn't ثم as ثم الصفة ثم as ثم الفاعل. مثال أحمد isn't as big as ليلى. أحمد ليس بطول ليلى. الطريقة الثانية استخدام comparison adjectives المقارنة باستخدام الصفات نضع الفاعل ثم is ثم الصفة مضافا إليها er ثم than ثم الفاعل. أحمد is taller than علي. أحمد أطول من علي. قواعد إضافة er للصفات إذا كانت الصفة تنتهي بحرف y فإننا نحذف حرف الواي عند إضافة er ونضع er. أما إذا كانت الصفة تنتهي بحرف ساكن وهي صفة من مقطع واحد أي one syllable big نقرأها كمقطع واحد فإننا نضاعف الحرف الذي يسبقه حرف العلة. حرف العلة جاء الحرف G فإننا أصبح هناك bigger أي أضفنا حرفان G. fat كذلك الأمر سمين fatter أي T أصبح حرفان لأنه سبقه حرف A وهو حرف علة. 2. Ask and answer Pupil book page 21. Q. What is the weather like in Amman? A. It's 32 degrees centigrade in the summer. It's hot. It's 12 degrees centigrade in the winter. It's cold. It has 200 millimeters of rain every year. Q. What is the weather like in Riyadh? A. It's 43 degrees centigrade in the summer. It's hot. It's 14 degrees centigrade in the winter. It's cold. It has 124 millimeters of rain every year. Q. What's the weather like in Cairo? A. It's 34 degrees centigrade in the summer. It's hot. It's 13 degrees centigrade in the winter. It's cold. It has 50 millimeters of rain every year. Q. What's the weather like in Beirut? A. It's 32 degrees centigrade in the summer. It's hot. It's 11 degrees centigrade in the winter. It's cold. It has 900 millimeters of rain every year. 3. Look at Say Pupils Book, page 21. Amman is colder than Riyadh in winter. Amman isn't as dry as Cairo. Amman isn't hot as Riyadh in summer. Cairo isn't wet as Amman in winter. 4. Read and answer. Pupils Book, page 22. Where does Khalid live and where does his cousin live? Two cities by Khalid. I live in Aslan in Jordan. It's a beautiful city. There are hills and valleys. There's lots of interesting trees and plants in the forest, and many animals live in there. Aslan has a famous castle. It's very old. You can't see tall skyscrapers here. My cousin Omar lives in Kuwait City. It's the capital city of Kuwait. It's about 1,100 kilometers from Jordan. It's beautiful, but it's very different from Aslan. Kuwait City is on the coast. It doesn't have any hills or mountains, but it has lots of tall modern buildings. Kuwait City is very hot in the summer. It's hotter than Aslan in the summer. In Kuwait City there are often sandstorms. The wind carries sand from the desert. Aslan isn't as windy as Kuwait City, and there are no sandstorms here. 5. Read again and say yes or no. Pupils Book, page 22. 1. There are hills and valleys in Aslan. Yes. 2. No animals live in Aslan. No. 3. Kuwait City is by the sea. Yes. 4. Kuwait City is as hot as Aslan. No. 5. Kuwait City is as hot as Aslan. Yes. 6. Listen and say. Pupils Book, page 22. Afternoon. Television. Planetarium. 7. Look and say. Pupils Book, page 23. The Bean Forest isn't as big as Aslan Forest. Jabal Ram isn't as high as Jabal al Dami. Zarqa River isn't as long as the River Jordan. 8. Ask and answer. Pupils Book, page 23. Valley, hill, mountain, coast, lake, sea, desert, tree. What's your favorite place in Jordan? My favorite place is Wadi Rum. It's a beautiful place to visit. There are lots of hills and valleys. There are lots of colorful mountains in Wadi Rum. Unit 4. Jordan isn't as dry as Egypt. Activity book. 1. Read and match. Listen and check. Activity book, page 19. 1. Hani, what's the weather like in Egypt? That's P. 2. Hani, what's the coast like in Egypt? C. 3. Hani, what's Jordan like? A. 4. Hani, what's your favorite city in Jordan? E. 5. Hani, what's the weather like in Jordan? Answers. A. That it's a marvelous country. There are deserts, mountains, and nature reserves. B. That it's hot in the summer, but it isn't as hot as Saudi Arabia. C. That it's great. There are beautiful coral reefs in the sea. D. That it isn't as dry as Egypt. It has about 160 millimeters of rain every year. E. That it's the capital city, Amman. It's fascinating. 2. Look and write. Activity book, page 19. 1. In Riyadh, it's 43 degrees centigrade. 2. In Aqaba, it's 34 degrees centigrade. 3. In Beirut, it's 26 degrees centigrade. 4. In Amman, it's 29 degrees centigrade. 3. Look and write. Activity book, page 20. Amman, Riyadh, Cairo, Beirut. How hot is it? How cold is it? How rainy is it? Summer, winter, all year. 32 degrees centigrade. 43 degrees centigrade. 34 degrees centigrade. 32 degrees centigrade. 12 degrees centigrade. 14 degrees centigrade. 13 degrees centigrade. 12 degrees centigrade. 200 millimeters. 124 millimeters. 50 millimeters. 900 millimeters. 1. What's the weather like in Amman in the summer? It's 32 degrees centigrade in the summer. It has 200 millimeters of rain every year. 2. What's the weather like in Riyadh in the winter? It's 32.14 centigrade. In the winter, it has 124 millimeters of rain every year. What's the weather like in Cairo in the summer? It's 34 degrees centigrade in the summer. It has 50 millimeters of rain every year. 4. What's the weather like in Beirut? In the winter, it's 11 degrees centigrade. In the winter, it's cold. It has 900 millimeters of rain every year. 4. Read and circle. Activity book, page 21. Amman isn't hot. Amman isn't as hot as Riyadh in the summer. 2. Amman isn't as cold as Beirut in the winter. 3. Beirut is colder than Cairo in the winter. 4. Amman isn't as hot as Riyadh. 4. Cairo is hotter than Amman in the summer. 6. Cairo isn't wet as Beirut. 5. Read and complete. Activity book, page 20. Dear Raed, I am on a school trip to Egypt and we are staying in Cairo. I am having a great time. It is the capital city of Egypt. There are lots of tall buildings and modern skyscrapers. There are old buildings too. There's a famous museum. It's a very interesting city. Cairo is in the north of Egypt. It's a busy city. It's near the desert and it's very hot. It's hotter than Amman. In the summer, it's about 35 degrees centigrade. There are some hills, but there aren't any forests. It's windy and sometimes there are sandstorms. In the summer, Amman isn't as windy as Cairo. Cairo isn't on the coast, but it's on the river Nile. It is the longest river in the world. It's amazing. I like Cairo a lot. Right soon, Salim. Deserts, skyscraper, hotter, windy, sandstorms. 1. There are lots of tall buildings and skyscrapers in Cairo. 2. Salim is staying near the deserts in Egypt. 3. Cairo is hotter than Amman in the summer. 4. Sometimes there are sandstorms in the summer. 5. Amman isn't as windy as Cairo. 6. Write. Activity book, page 21. 7. Listen and mark the stress. Activity book, page 22. Animal, banana, fascinating, tomato, alphabet, independence, international, celebration, museum. 8. Circle and say. Activity book, page 22. Aqaba is my favorite place. It's a city on the coast. There are beautiful coral reefs in the city. There are modern skyscrapers and hotels. It is 40 degrees centigrade in the summer. It is very hot. Jerash is a city in the north of Jordan. There are mountains and valleys near Jerash. In the summer, it's 35 degrees centigrade. It isn't as hot as Aqaba. There are lots of Roman buildings. 9. Write about two towns or cities. Activity book, page 22.